There's no gas in it.
No problem, yeah. You go 30,000 dollars, you go over here, yeah. My friend, you look there, yeah, good.
So we arrived in Ho Chi Minh City, and we wanted to rent motorbikes.
This is left, and this is right. This is left, this is right. Yeah.
For a lot of people, it was actually the first time that they were on a motorbike, and I mean, I remember just some of us had some nervous looks.
Just seeing the traffic there and how sketchy it looks was pretty intimidating at first.
Not a lot of people have like cars out there, so the families all just like pile onto one bike. At times, you know, you'd see like 5 people on the bike, and it was just crazy. You wonder like how they keep balance and everything like that.
You know, so we finished the Trans-Siberian trip, and everyone's kind of been doing their own thing for the last year and a half or so. And Patrik kind of was thinking about doing another trip. One of the things that made a lot of sense with continuation of where we kind of left off, and I'm not in China, but continue down and get it on buses and do, you know, a complete trip of Southeast Asia, or a lot of Southeast Asia. So, you know, 78 hours of buses. We started in Vietnam.
And then go to Cambodia, into Phnom Penh.
Thailand, Bangkok.
And make our way eventually all the way to Myanmar.
You know, here we are, and it's chaos. I mean, it's the New Year. We arrived for the Chinese New Year, and there's tons of people everywhere, and we, you know, go outside and the wild buffalo is on fire, and there's smoke everywhere.
It's just black smoke pouring out, a lot of controversy.
New Year lasted for about a week or something. A lot of the businesses were closed, so we got to skate some spots you normally wouldn't get to skate because it was the New Year.
So we were riding around on the mopeds looking for spots, and we made our way just outside the city. And we found an area with a lot of brand new architecture, and we came upon some bumps.
And the security guards are waving at us like, hey, hey, hey. And at first we thought like, oh no, they know we're gonna skate and they don't want us to be here. But as soon as we got off, they were helping us carry the filmer bags, they're shaking our hands. We realized they were actually just genuinely excited to watch us skateboard.
They accepted bribes, which was cool. It helped us out a lot, helped them out.
We paid many times to skate there because anybody of them want to have some money.
now we're in a little river somewhere in Vietnam in a rowboat. Ow.
It really felt like we were in the middle of Vietnam at that point for the first time. You know, it could have been 50 or 100 years ago and it would have looked the same to us. And eventually we made our way to this one little restaurant.
Gnarliest restaurant I have ever seen. They had turtles, crocodiles.
But they basically told us the thing we should try was king cobra. As soon as we heard that, Kenny basically decided that I was going to eat it and started demanding money off everyone.
3, 4, 5, 1 million. The snake is 1,600,000 dongs. And we're paying for it.
The guy brings out this king cobra. You know, like, I mean, this is a poisonous and deadly snake.
And then they cut his head off with the scissor. And it's kind of crazy to see that.
And you're supposed to eat this heart while it's still beating, and then wash it down with its blood mixed with vodka. It's a cobra heart and it's still beating. That was good, yeah. Now let's get some meat. It's supposed to give you an erection. I was kind of horny for the next 2 weeks.
After Vietnam, we all headed to Cambodia.
As soon as we crossed over into Cambodia, it was definitely a big change from Vietnam, just to see like the extreme poverty. You saw it a little bit in Vietnam, but there was like fires on the side of the road, no street lights.
You could tell it was a little rougher, like a little less infrastructure.
One of the tourist attractions is to shoot guns or grenades or rocket launchers or anything really.
You know, you're not going to shoot anywhere else unless you're in the army. You know, so we went into this firing range and we started, you know, firing off like AK-47s, M16s.
So about AK-47s, most famous thing out of Russia after Lenin.
I decided to throw a grenade for 60 bucks.
It was fun shooting the guns, but at the same time, we knew that it was used just recently, I guess in 78 and 79 or something. The Pol Pot regime was pretty much just killing off the opposition.
He killed 1/4 of the population, so there's a kind of like a depressing aspect to the firing range, and it's really quite sad.
So when we got to Cambodia, I was a little worried that we weren't going to find any spots, but we hear about this spot and it's at a roller rink, so we decided to check it out.
Some roller rink in the middle of Cambodia, but paid $5 each and we get to skate it for 1 hour, so try to have some fun.
It was the smoothest, slipperiest floor. It was hilarious. There was teenagers all dancing around to some crazy techno music.
So when we were in Siem Reap, we decided to go and check out Angkor Wat, which is the largest religious monument on the earth. It was built about 900 years ago.
From the first step, when you walk into Angkor Wat, up to like the ceiling, every little piece of rock is inscribed with some sort of symbol or like a story, and it's just incredible to think like how much history is there and how much of a crazy civilization that must have been so long ago, and now it's this insane tourist attraction.
So Angkor Wat's obviously covered in tourists, and there's a load of kids there that work selling postcards or bracelets, and they try so hard to get you to buy something.
I don't need 10! I've got like 500 postcards in my...
After Angkor Wat, this amazing ancient city, we went straight to Thailand, to Bangkok, and the contrast was flipped completely 180. There were huge buildings.
There's sky trains, there's underground, there's overground.
This is the polar opposite of what we've been going through in Cambodia.
It's pretty funny as a skater. We go to all these exotic countries and I'm almost more excited about the skating than checking out the tourism. We had 5 full days of skating in Bangkok and it's almost the last thing on our minds to go check out the temples and stuff.
So we've been traveling through Vietnam and Cambodia and Thailand, and there's a sort of consistency between the three. And then we get into Myanmar, and it's just a completely different experience. One of the things you start noticing is that people are wearing face paint. Some people just cover their face with it. Some people put like little lines or dots around their eyes. It's all through society. Everyone does it. Men, women, children. I mean, everybody. And it's so like you get there and you're not expecting this. It feels like facial tribal paint or something. And then the men are all wearing skirts.
The culture kind of retained a lot more of its character, I think, than a lot of other countries around in the area. It's a really developing country. Everything there feels like it hasn't changed in, 50 years or something.
This place has been colonized for the last 100 years by the British. They endured a Japanese invasion, and now they have a military junta that's controlling, the whole region.
It's had quite a sad history, and it's quite sort of depressing to go there and you realise a lot of the people are so oppressed there. There's forced labour. I've heard stories of people in chains, working in the fields for no money.
There's even more temples in Myanmar than there is in Cambodia. It's insane how many temples they build. It's like they take all the money of the country and they just build temples. The first thing you notice when you come into Rangoon is this giant golden pagoda.
So this was built 2,500 years ago, and the story goes these three brothers brought 8 hairs back from India, from Buddha, and they brought them here and they built layer upon layer of different materials. There's 50 tons of gold on it, more than the entire Bank of England has, actually.
So the first spot we skated in Myanmar was basically a tree. We knew it was going to be hard finding spots here.
We get there and we're looking at this thing and it's a slight bank. It's huge. I mean, it's waist high and the ground is atrocious.
Hey, I tried.
If it was in the US, no one would ever skate that spot. But we skated it and actually we got some good stuff.
First try.
After Yangon, we went to the new capital.
We're going to the new capital.
To the middle of nowhere to find skate spots.
Apparently, the reason they moved the capital was because
One of the main generals had his palm read, and the palm reader told him that it was time to move the capital.
From Yangon to a place called Naypyidaw. We wanted to go check it out, but it was actually illegal for us to be there. So we ended up staying in a really surreal resort.
it looked like a giant mini golf course. There's replicas of all the different temples around Myanmar.
And it was a half-finished theme park. It was still under construction. And I'm not talking about like a Disneyland. This is like, I don't even know what's going on here. I mean, this is like a big sinkhole of money. And here we are like, what are we doing here? But the thing was is that there was these unbelievable spots. It was like a skater's dream. It was like, it wasn't a skate park. There was nothing there for skateboarding, but just imagine having like all these really insane looking spots and having nobody bother you or anyone around just to say anything.
We kind of just wandered around the amusement park a little bit and we found these giant water slides. So immediately everybody was like rolling down the water slides.
And Geng is going for this ollie out of one of the water slides.
It seems like I'm gonna get it easy, but then like I kind of got bad luck. I land on the uneven brick.
He's not the sort of guy that complains about when he takes a slam or anything, so straight away knew something was wrong. Check out his arm and there's a huge sort of lump on the side of it. It was obvious that the bone had just completely come out of place. You know, so we're all pretty worried. We don't know how much it's going to cost. There's no ATMs in the country, so if we didn't have enough money, it would be a big problem too. There'd be no way we could help him.
The first hospital they took us to was a little hut. It was sketchy. Doctor showed up, took one look at his elbow, and was just like, I can't do anything.
Nothing they can do, man. They just give me like some injection, like painkiller.
Laurence takes off his shirt and we make a small little sling. Then we drove the hour to get to Naypyidaw. And we go to this clinic and we get there and the power just cuts out. For about 5 minutes, there's people walking around with flashlights. And then the power just comes on. You're thinking, okay, this is sketchy. We're in some small town with the only clinic in miles and the power's cutting off. They had to x-ray it to make sure there wasn't a break. He ended up having to have surgery just to relocate it.
It's kind of hard for me to continue, go to Mandalay.
I think he wanted to get out and go back home.
See you guys in Bangkok, man.
So our main objective was to get on the Mandalay Express, this one train that connects Rangoon and Mandalay.
It was a night train. It took about 16 hours. You know, after the Russian and Chinese trains, it was pretty rough.
It was a wild train ride, one of the weirdest ones I've ever experienced. We got the upper class carriage. There's only one on the whole train, but how upper it is, it's debatable. You know, people were walking by with sticks with little miniature birds on them, fried, and like all kinds of weird, different kinds of food and stuff. Little sparrows!
You could do whatever you wanted. I mean, there were people who had bought tickets to sleep in between the cars.
there gets to certain like cities and certain villages, it kind of slows down a little bit. So people were like just jumping in and out of the train, just like they would get on the train, go through a cart and try to sell as much as they could, and right before the train like went off and started going fast again, like they would hop back off.
But they would jump on, they could have a little bag, open it up, you know, make a pile of watermelon, put it on their head, and, you know, walk up and down the cabin. I don't know how she could balance with that bumpy train with all the watermelons on her head. Like.
By the time we got to Mandalay, it seemed like we'd taken so many buses and trains and everything.
I think the total of hours that it took us to get there, all the way starting in Vietnam to Mandalay, was about 78 hours. It was tiring. I mean, it really takes a toll on you.
We've taken this Mandalay Express and we're all the way kind of at the end of the journey, and we're dazed and confused because we're so tired, and we've been on all these, you know, all this travel, and it was done in 30 days. And it's hard to say overwhelming, but you know, we would skate a spot and we'd have this massive crowd of people.
Everybody's here.
They would just crowd around and watch, and you know, they were really friendly and nice. Like our boards would shoot out and they would give them back, like really happy, and like cheer whenever we made a trick.
And people are taking photos, and the next day we find out we're in the newspaper, the Mandalay Daily.
We couldn't read much, but yeah, it was a good souvenir.
some cats and they squish.
Dude, a chance like this only comes once in a lifetime. Once in a goddamn lifetime. All right. You gonna kill the animals?
We just come to a temple that's covered in monkeys, and no, it's been a month-long trip, and I'm finally here with my people.